NBIA, Natural Bioscience Intelligence Agency. The science is real. The mission is yours.
4:17 a.m. Khorasan province. I'm standing in the most valuable agricultural field on earth, and I'm not here for the scenery.
Viper. Status.
Sourcing confirmed. Stigma integrity viable. Supply chain audit underway.
The product is already in 94,000 facilities across North America. Diet sodas, zero-cal sports drinks, sugar-free energy shots, protein shakes, flavored waters. The labeling changes, the mechanism does not. It is always the same compound, same pathway, same suppression.
How long until measurable neurological impact?
Biochemistry is indifferent to opinion, Viper. The phenylalanine spike begins within 15 minutes of ingestion. The serotonin suppression is chronic. The consumer drinking 3 of these a day already has the deficit. They just don't know what to call it. The solution is also real and specific. You'll have it before this episode ends. 36 hours earlier, Geneva.
Global burden of disease, depressive disorder incidence, 1980 to present, mapped against artificial sweetener market penetration by country. No one has overlaid these 2 datasets before. No one thought to. I'm looking at a correlation that follows the diet beverage adoption curve with a 7-year lag. 7 years. That is the approximate duration of chronic LAT. One competition required to produce serotonin pathway suppression detectable at population scale. The countries that adopted diet beverages earliest show the steepest incidence curves. The countries that adopted last, or not at all, show the flattest. This is not a statistical artifact. This is a timeline. I'm joining from the WHO archive. You need to see these curves.
Bring it up. All of it.
The product under operation is marketed as a wellness hydration beverage, 0 calories, electrolyte fortified, trail runners on the label. The word clean appears 14 times. It contains 220 milligrams of aspartame per 500 milliliters bottle. Distribution: 94,000 gym facilities, sports retailers, and health food chains across North America.
The consumer drinking this 3 times a day during their workout believes they have already made the healthy choice. That is the operation.
Mechanism. Frost.
Before the molecular detail, a frame. Think of your brain's serotonin production like a single-lane highway with a checkpoint at the blood-brain barrier. Tryptophan is the only vehicle that can carry serotonin's raw material across. What aspartame does is flood that checkpoint with phenylalanine, a competing vehicle, until tryptophan can barely get through. The serotonin factory inside is running, but the supply trucks can't reach it. Here's the mechanism. Aspartame NL-alpha, aspartame LL, phenylalanine methyl ester metabolizes in the small intestine into 3 compounds: aspartic acid, phenylalanine, and methanol. The methanol oxidizes through alcohol dehydrogenase into formaldehyde and then formic acid. This is a hepatotoxic cascade. At chronic low-dose exposure, it produces measurable mitochondrial dysfunction in hepatic and neural tissue.
What's the specific threat to serotonin? I understand the methanol cascade, but how does phenylalanine actually suppress serotonin?
Phenylalanine and tryptophan compete directly at the blood-brain barrier's large neutral amino acid transporter LAT1, only one boarding door. Tryptophan is serotonin's only dietary precursor. Flood LAT1 with phenylalanine via 3 diet beverages a day and tryptophan transport drops measurably. Less tryptophan crossing means less serotonin synthesized. The consumer calls it low mood, they call it poor sleep, they call it getting older, the formulator calls it a feature.
The 7-year lag I identified in the WHO dataset is the duration of chronic LAT1 competition required before suppression becomes detectable at population scale, not in labs. In lived experience, in psychiatric intake data, in antidepressant prescription rates.
Countermeasure.
Saffron. Crocus sativus. Active compounds, safranal and crocin. Safranal operates as a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, same primary mechanism as pharmaceutical SSRIs. It binds the serotonin transporter protein, SERT, and inhibits serotonin reuptake. Serotonin that would have been cleared from the synapse remains active. Crucially, saffron does not compete at LAT1. It works downstream of the synthesis bottleneck that aspartame creates.
So the compound doesn't attempt to restore what aspartame has depleted. It preserves what remains, even under upstream suppression.
Correct. Simultaneously, crossin saffron's second active compound is a potent antioxidant in neural tissue. It scavenges the reactive oxygen species generated by the formaldehyde oxidation cascade from aspartame's methanol metabolite. Mitochondrial membrane potential in hepatic cells, measurably depressed by chronic methanol exposure, begins to stabilize within 48 hours of crossin administration.
One clarification, the 2021 study you mentioned in the initial briefing, what exactly did it find about saffron versus pharmaceutical antidepressants?
A meta-analysis in Journal of Affective Disorders Marks and colleagues, 2021 analyzed 14 randomized controlled trials and confirmed saffron supplementation produced antidepressant effects statistically equivalent to low-dose SSRIs for mild to moderate depression, without the withdrawal profile. That is the countermeasure's clinical foundation.
Sourcing integrity. Viper.
Commercial adulteration rate on saffron is estimated at 40%. Powdered turmeric, paprika, safflower. ISO 3632 certification is the only verification protocol that holds. If it's not documented, the product has not been tested. I'm in Khorasan to confirm the supply chain for the countermeasure protocol. 90% of world supply originates in these fields. We source from here or we don't source.
Understood. Field launch authorized.
18 hours later, Khorasan province, Iran. Each flower yields 3 stigmas. Mechanical harvesting destroys the stigma structure. This is why every gram is hand-picked. This is why it is the most expensive spice by weight on earth. And this is why the adulteration rate is 40%, because the price point makes fraud lucrative, and the visual distinction from paprika is nearly impossible without laboratory analysis.
Therapeutic dose is 30 milligrams of standardized extract daily. At the stigma yield rate of 8 to 10 stigmas per 30 milligram dose, you are looking at 8 to 10 hand-harvested flowers per daily treatment protocol.
Batch documentation confirmed. ISO 3632 certification on file. Supply chain integrity verified for the countermeasure protocol.
N3. Confirmation on LAT1 competition threshold at 3,500 milliliters bottles per day.
Confirmed. At 220 milligrams aspartame per 500 milliliters bottle, 3 bottles delivers 660 milligrams aspartame daily. Phenylalanine yield, approximately 330 milligrams. At this load, LAT1 saturation in a 70 kilogram subject produces a measurable reduction in tryptophan transport efficiency within 72 hours of daily exposure. Chronic exposure, defined as 90 days or more, correlates with detectable central serotonin suppression in pharmacokinetic modeling.
Viper. Countermeasure confirmed. Proceed to molecular deployment.
Safranal enters the upper gastrointestinal tract within minutes of ingestion. Its lipophilic structure allows it to cross membrane barriers without active transport. It is absorbed rapidly, enters portal circulation, and reaches peak plasma concentration within 45 minutes. The blood-brain barrier presents no obstacle. Safranal's lipophilic chemistry allows passive diffusion directly across the endothelial membrane. Within 90 minutes of ingestion, peak concentration is confirmed in limbic and prefrontal cortex tissue, the precise architecture of mood regulation, emotional processing, and executive function.
In the longitudinal data, this is the point where the curve reverses. Not overnight, not in 72 hours, but directionally, the suppression begins to lift.
At the serotonergic synapse, safranal reaches the serotonin transporter protein SERT. It binds the substrate binding site. Serotonin reuptake is competitively inhibited. Serotonin that would have been cleared from the synaptic cleft returned to the presynaptic neuron, rendered inactive remains. The signal persists. The static quiets.
Simultaneously, crocin, absorbed via separate intestinal transport mechanism, enters hepatic circulation. It reaches liver tissue, where the formaldehyde metabolite from aspartame's methanol cascade has been accumulating. Reactive oxygen species, targeted. Mitochondrial membrane potential in hepatic cells, stabilizing.
Within 48 hours of crocin administration, mitochondrial function in hepatic tissue begins measurable recovery. The oxidative cascade from the methanol metabolite is interrupted. The liver did not know saffron was coming. It only knows the damage is slowing.
The formulator's operation stalls. The consumer doesn't know the mechanism. They know they slept better. They know the low mood lifted. They will attribute it to something else. That's fine. The biochemistry doesn't require credit.
Encrypted signal detected. Partial decryption follows.
Glycemic index suppression confirmed without insulin response. The sweetness signal reaches the reward pathway. The satiety signal does not. The consumer eats more. They blame themselves. Expanding to the children's breakfast category, fiber fortified, parent approved. The mechanism is identical.
Signal lost.
He's already moved. Next operation is already in distribution.
The WHO dataset has been transmitted to 3 separate research institutions for independent analysis. The correlation between diet beverage market penetration and depressive disorder incidence will not stay buried.
It won't need to. The next operation is already in the children's breakfast category. We work the supply chain. Frost. What's the compound?
Still running the intercept analysis. 20 minutes.
Next operation is authorized. Viper is already en route.
Everything you're about to hear has been published in peer-reviewed research. I'm going to give you the mechanism, the study, and the exact dose in plain language. The mechanism. Safranal 1 of saffron's 2 primary active compounds inhibits the serotonin transporter, SERT. This is the same primary mechanism used by pharmaceutical SSRIs. It prevents serotonin from being cleared out of the synaptic cleft, so the signal persists longer. Crocin, the second compound, acts as a mitochondrial antioxidant. It intercepts reactive oxygen species before they damage neural and hepatic tissue. Together, these 2 compounds address both the neurochemical and the oxidative components of aspartame's metabolic cascade. The study, Lopresti and Drummond, Human Psychopharmacology, Clinical and Experimental, 2014 conducted a systematic review confirming saffron's antidepressant and anxiolytic effects across multiple randomized controlled trials. A subsequent meta-analysis by Marks and colleagues, published in Journal of Affective Disorders in 2021, analyzed 14 randomized controlled trials and confirmed that saffron supplementation produced antidepressant effects statistically equivalent to low-dose pharmaceutical SSRIs for mild to moderate depression, with a safety and tolerability profile comparable to placebo. The dose. Therapeutic range. 28 to 30 milligrams of standardized saffron extract daily, taken with food. Here is the one distinction the industry does not want you to know. Adulteration is endemic. Powdered turmeric, paprika, and safflower are the 3 most common adulterants in commercial saffron products. The only verification protocol that works is ISO 3632 certification, the International Saffron Purity Standard. If that certificate is not documented on the product page, the product has not been tested. Do not purchase without it. NBIA, Truth and Transparency in Human Health.